You are live. Here we go. Seems it's working. Hello, everyone. Long time no see.
Can't
I
believe
mean, no one's here at this moment, at least according to the counter, but people will be coming. We are getting famous, right,
it's
Jonathan? What do you
perfect.
think?
I would say, well, let me check my watch real quick. Not getting famous today. No, that's not happening.
Well, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. There
After
might be a viral moment, you know.
I really hope not. You know what I mean? Typically, when something goes viral, it's like just extremely bad. And then, I think now, in times past, it was like people would have shame and they'd have to apologize about something. But now, in the current world we live in, it's like you go viral for doing something terrible, and then it's like I'm going to turn this into a meme coin.
Oh yeah, and do my own podcast and wear a funny hat and be blonde and funny.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. I'm not going to. We are all thinking about the same thing, so we don't have to mention that. This is a family-friendly podcast, or a live stream or whatever. We
Yeah.
are here to talk about code evolution or revolution or code in general and how it has changed. I mean, there's no denying that things are changing these days. Things have been changing for the last 2 years. I guess from the moment ChatGPT became available, we saw that there's a massive potential. Some people are overselling it. Some people maybe try to like undersell it or try to go like, haha, I cannot even solve this dumb problem. Like, how many R's are in the word strawberry, etc. Uh, but that's just, I don't know, maybe that's just I would say that's coping a little bit, because
Yeah.
the power of what these models nowadays can do is undeniable, and it seems to be changing a lot of like how we work and how we approach stuff. So we're here to talk about this, and there have been some interesting events happening. I mean, every week there's something interesting happening. So to catch up on all of this, we're here today.
I like that. You kind of just gave us a reason to exist, which we didn't really have ever before. But I think in what you just did, which is completely unplanned as far as I'm aware, you kind of just made a reason for why we do these, which is really cool. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, we'll be like the weekly news of what's new in AI. A new model just came out and stole everyone's job.
Oh,
Back to
yeah.
you, Jonathan.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let me spin up my Jonathan AI model to do this live stream with you right now. But yeah, I mean, I think you nailed it. Like maybe even we could zoom out a little bit and just go talk about like you were obviously huge in testing. You have a giant following, right? You're a Cypress ambassador for a long time. You've done a lot of contracting, consulting type stuff. I have a very different background. I was a therapist and a chef and all this other jazz. I did a boot camp. I wound up at Cypress. I learned a lot by working with some people a lot smarter than me. And then now I'm at Checkley leveraging Playwright, right? And so we're,
I didn't know you were a therapist. I have
yeah, yeah,
masters in psychology. I was about to become a therapist, but never followed through. Didn't
yeah.
know that.
Yeah, well, here we are today. I'm not doing that anymore. So, but yeah, I think it's an interesting thing, right? Because what we have seen in the last 4 years, 5 years, 4 years, really, it is 5 years now. Sorry, 5 years is like just the amount of change and velocity across all ecosystems for developing things in tech, right? Like I
Yeah.
remember doing the boot camp and it was like, oh, cool. I'm learning React. I'm building all these apps. Like, it's never been this easy to build an app before. This
Yeah.
is nuts. Like, I always thought this stuff was like for people that were on some genius level IQs. Now, flash forward to 2025, we have vibe coding.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, exactly. And I think like looking back at when I started with testing, and then I started playing around with Cypress, and for like 4 or 5 years, just knowing how to do stuff in Cypress, just know to do how test automation was like the whole game for me, right? This was enough for me to get invited to a conference, right? To record a video, to write a blog about, and yeah, but that like slowly became not enough. And there's, I feel like, yeah, the speed with which things are moving is kind of crazy, and it's honestly hard to keep up.
Yeah.
Um, and one of the things that I felt like is I guess this is another reason why we do this, right?
Yeah.
Is there's so much noise, there's so much stuff happening every day in the world of development, and I guess in the world of AI right now, that it's just like hard to keep up. Like there's a new model every week, there's a new tool every week, there's a new tool built on top of AI every week or every day, I guess. So yeah, I guess you saying let's zoom out a little bit, that's a very good strategy, because we should probably zoom out to try to pick from the whole bunch of noise, to pick a couple of interesting signals. We have prepared some for today. Um, so you pointed out one really interesting thing, and you should be the one to present that.
Cool. Cool. Yeah. I mean, just to kind of like close the loop or whatever the thing is, right? It's you and I have been looking at different tools. We do this all the time. Like you and I have a Discord where like all we do is talk about this type of stuff all the time, right? You'll send me things that you're really excited about. We'll jump on like impromptu like huddles, etc. Just talk about what we've learned and what we've explored in this space. And I think what we would really like to do is share that with our community and the people that we, that maybe follow us or interested in learning more about these things without them
Yeah,
having to
we
dedicate.
call we have a call every week, and at this point, we should probably just record those calls and release them as YouTube videos.
True, true. So yeah, let me share my screen real fast, and
Oh
then
yeah,
I
let's
think
go.
what you're referring to, though, right, is vibe coding.
Oh yeah.
And boy, oh boy, have things really got interesting. Number one, I'm not in love with the name, Philip. What are your thoughts on vibe coding? You know,
I honestly, I don't know. When I first saw the term, I didn't think much of it. I saw that like the origins of this phrase is from Andrej Karpathy, who's, by the way, he's from Slovakia. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, I think he emigrated when he was like 15 or something. And yeah, he tweeted out like, this is the new way of doing things. Wait, this is
That's
another
yours.
thing. It's not what I wanted to show. We'll show that later.
Cool, cool.
uh but I think, yeah, I don't think I have a link for that tweet, but yeah, Andre basically tweeted out like he like has this new way of coding, which is sort of vibe coding. Let's just put stuff into AI, and then if it throws an error, let's just throw that error to AI, and not don't even maybe read that code, just like skim through it, see if it works, etc., and just like create a whole application based on vibes and based on how well it feels, the creation of AI, which sparked a lot of debate in the whole dev space. And
Yeah,
it's kind of interesting, like even like the whole psychology of that is kind of fun, because uh yeah, I mean, we can get into that. I think like there's a lot to unpack when it comes to senior engineers that have been in the field for 20-30 years reacting to that, versus maybe someone who just really wants to build an app but just doesn't have that technical knowledge, and then one group of people looking to the other. Yeah, there's a lot. But you have something here. Are we going to be vibe
Yeah.
coding today?
Let's do some vibe coding. Let's check the vibes, if you will. You know, I just got brand new glasses, right? So let's do something like maybe we create a store where you can buy glasses, like eyeglasses. Let's just want to want to one shot this in the worst way possible just to see what comes back. But I want to create a web store where users can come on and buy eyeglasses based on how they hold on, based on let's do how they not an event, based on what their favorite thing to do is. I don't know. Let's go for it. Let's sign in with Google. Hold on.
Should I hide your screen? Yeah, I'll hide it for a second.
I already
you can
moved.
tell me.
Thank you. Okay, let's. Of course, now what you're not seeing on screen right now is me struggling to sign in because I have an existing account, so that's great. Let's see. I'm gonna do classic. Forgot my password.
So should we talk about security when it comes to vibe coding?
Absolutely. I'm willing to sign up for a net new account here if I have to, and I think that's what I'm doing. Let's see. They should have sent me the password. I need the password email. They did not. Let's see. Still.
By the way, you got your first compliment on your glasses.
Oh, thanks. Was it? Hey,
Stefan
they look like glasses.
Anderson, looking good, man.
Thanks. My login attempt is now officially taken too long.
Yeah, that's fine. We can spend time talking to people. We have some people watching.
Okay, cool.
We started with this vibe coding theme and topic. So let us know in the chat, like, yay or nay. What do you think? Is it a good approach? Is it a risky approach? Like, do you like the idea of just sitting back and letting AI do the thing? Or no, it has to be pure engineering and grind, and you have to like get through the nitty gritty to get the application you want. Otherwise, you're not serious. Or I don't know. Doesn't matter how the code looks. What matters is that it's shipped and it's making money or whatever. Let us know.
Philip, we're good. We're good to share now. It was tied to my GitHub account. So,
that's the thing, to figure out like which account do I have the single sign-on set on.
So this is already interesting, right? So I have only ever prompted directly from that little screen that we saw, and I wonder if I can get back there. It looks like I can't. But this is interesting. I get to choose the technology that my app that I'm vibe coding with will be chosen from. I imagine that if I wasn't a developer, I would have no clue what these things are, right?
Yeah.
Like, how would you know?
That's the thing. And what I think is like really interesting about this age of AI and creating apps nowadays is that there are so many people now that flock into like creating their own apps, that of course you have many people that are not technical. And I asked my wife recently, like, if there was a way for you to pretty much think an application into existence, would you do that? And she's like, not very. I don't want to say she's not very technical. She can get around, of course. Like, and everyone has to get around it at some level these days. But she's not creating web applications or whatever. She's not a programmer, tester, or any kind of related IT related area. So if she saw this, she wouldn't know. So we're already getting to some certain technical degree of coding. So did you take the prompt, or you just clicked on the Next.js and
I had no prompt at all. Yeah, this is just okay. Let's open this. I think now it's going to take me back to that main prompt. There we go. Right.
Hey, there we go.
This is just basic for sell. Okay, so then now I want to build an e-commerce store where users can buy glasses based on, what did I say, how an event they're going to? Or emotion? Based on, yeah.
I forgot. I have a memory of a goldfish, so
let's do this. Let's just see what it gives us, right? Like,
yeah.
Didn't provide any real context. It's already starting to do something. Set up a motion-based glasses store. Oh, it already sounds better than how I described it. Okay.
This is an interesting thing that I have been. I had an experience with this. So I do a lot of like coding with Cursor, which has a similar interface where you can chat with any model you like. And the really interesting thing for me was that sometimes when I'm being too specific, I don't get the thing I want, even though I was very specific in explaining what I need, and vice versa. Sometimes if I'm like very broad, like I just give a broad idea of what I would like to have as a result, the AI kind of guesses it really well. And I think the result kind of depends on how common the thing that I want to create is, right? So if I just want to update my application to have a tabbed interface, so I have like multiple tabs and I want to have a list showing content within that tabs, I don't have to tell much, right? I just want to have list of all my conferences I went to split into tabs, and it does a really good job. But then when I do something really, really specific, like I'm building a application that connects to LinkedIn and I wanted to do that, etc., it just struggles. You cannot like one shot this into existence. So what's going on here?
Okay, so we ran into our first issue, right? So here we're on the app, find your perfect frames. It gives us some emotions. It already gives us the most sort of AI slop possible, where these words make sense. Someone could read them and be like, yeah, okay, I guess. That's great. But once you click on any of these, right, leads you to nowhere. That page isn't linked to anything. So what I'm asking now, politely, I guess I can throw in a please here at the end. That way AI doesn't come for me in my sleep at some point. I'm
You're
asking,
just wasting tokens, man.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's a capitalist AI token society we're building here. But I'm asking, I'm asking very nicely to whatever LLM is behind Bolt right now, if they could create a scaffold for a product page. So let's see what happens, right? I like that it keeps calling it emotion-based product pages in glasses, right? Glasses data. Okay. So we have a concept of what each of these items should look like. It's not using, let's see what's going on here. I like looking at it, what it's actually doing with coding.
Yeah. Sometimes though it can be a little bit overwhelming. Like what I tend to do is that I use Git, and whenever I'm happy with the result, I commit, and then when I do another prompt, I can see the changes, or when I do a series of prompts, right? I can see the changes in the Git diff, so that I can read through them, like what has changed. This doesn't help when it changes too much, but it feels like sometimes it can get like too overwhelming, like too much code is produced and I don't know what's happening. And for me, and that's another thing, like for me, that doesn't feel very comfortable. but doesn't that's a me problem though, right? I don't know.
No, I think it's interesting, and this error is already highlighting the trouble you can get into immediately, right? So it's an invalid source prop, right? So this image isn't real or it can't be found or whatever.
Yeah.
I know what that means, right? And that it likely means we should improve our error handling, right?
Yeah.
If I didn't know what that meant, if I was unfamiliar with debugging things or, writing tests, etc., I could look at this and just say, hey, kind of like what I did here. I think I meant to copy it. Let's provide that context back to the AI, ask it if it can address, and then I'm also adding additional context that it looks like we can use better error handling.
An additional, please.
Yeah, an additional please. Please see what happens, right? So now, again, have I gotten further than if I would have started on my own? 100%, right?
Yeah.
Like forever simple, just showing those little silly blocks are. I could use that as a scaffold and already be further along than if I'd never done a prompt. Now, what's starting to become interesting is, okay, here's another error, right? Like, so we know now that, there's some event handler happening, issue happening here. Maybe I have to look at the code and see what's actually going wrong. And now all of a sudden I'm back into developing, right? I'm actually dealing with the exact same problems that I had, but maybe I have some scaffolded code.
Yeah.
To the point you made earlier, Philip, I think that's also spot on was, hey, sometimes it's too much, right? Like,
yeah,
I just want a page with some glasses, man. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't seem like I'm asking for a whole lot. Like sorry, I'm trying to get a handle on this UI as well. If I have to dive through all of this code that I'm not familiar with, and right now it's not a lot, thankfully, it's going to take me time. Like I really have to think about, is going down this path actually useful for me? Or maybe I did something very wrong already, right? Maybe I should have included the fact that I want to click on these items when I did the initial prompt. Would that have led to a higher degree of success? I don't know. But I also wonder how many bottles of water Bolt has just drank with these 3 prompts.
Yeah, I think this is really quite interesting because I've seen AIs perform better or worse depending on like what we are building, right? But what I also see is that there's this like a whole new ecosystem of like, yeah, custom GPTs and custom AI models, and Claude came up with the model context protocol, and you can build your own database into which the AI should be looking. And it seems like we started off with this simple chat window, and now it's like we're living in the Apple Store era where there's an app for that. And I feel like there's a partial solution for everything. And I think we kind of started calling that the agentic workflow, where you have agent for this, agent for that, agent for another thing. And the ultimate experience is like trying to put all of these kind of different agents together to push you through the like to the ultimate goal that you want to achieve. And I think it sort of mirrors the whole developer experience, right? So we're starting here with a prototype, but like after first or the second prompt, we are now in a debugging mode. So so that's part of like the developer experience, right? Not only you can build, like anyone can put a button or a form together. When you are starting to like run stuff and run into issues, you're suddenly into debugging mode. And then if everything works, you're going into testing mode and you're actually trying to verify whether everything works or there's some obscure error hiding, waiting to jump at you. Like it is now, it seems.
Yeah, 100%. I had to laugh, right? Is because, so I did the whole I'm copying the error, I'm pasting the error, I'm saying, can you update for this thing? And then what happens? I'm already back at the first error, right? That we
Yeah,
had.
it's not a good vibe.
It's
Not a good vibe. Yeah.
if I had to say right now, the vibes are off. But
Yeah, the vibe.
I'm not taking a
Don't
I'm not
kill
taking
their vibes.
my vibe has been killed at this point. But I'm not taking a swipe at Bolt, right? Like much smarter, intelligent people are building this solution and they're building it to, be something that people that don't have a developer background can easily leverage. Like so much respect to people building these types of tools. I'm not taking a dig at the tool, but what I am highlighting, and I think what you're also highlighting here, is that as the developer, right, I would have a much better time if I was using an IDE right now, right?
Yeah.
Like I would have a much better time if I was using Void or Cursor right now than if I was using Bolt, because I could control what's being changed and what's not. And maybe, that's possible here. I think, I can actually do some of that. But
Can
what
you
I
reference
really,
files?
it looks like
in
you
this?
can, right?
I don't know. Like in the chat, can you do like add something? Oh, you can ask bot. Oh, cool.
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not gonna my ADD fully kicked in that moment. But I think it does become this very interesting thing quickly, and it is about, would I have an easier, faster time doing this in my IDE right now than I would using the UI chat-based approach for developing this idea?
Mm-hmm.
Like even a step further than what we already had.
Yeah, I had a similar experience. What I think it actually, I'm going to bring up the image that I found on Reddit today. It was coincidentally at the Cursor subreddit, and there's these like two engineers next to each other, and the left side is, they call him non-engineer, but I think that could be anybody, right? Hey, I just built a app from a single prompt. It's Cursor or Bolt or whatever is awesome. And then second step is, why is everything breaking? Why is everything Cursor is so confused? And then the third step is, this is just like, I cannot add a feature. It's giving me errors. I give up. And then the engineer on the right starts with a more skeptical thing, like, yeah, another overhyped AI tool. Okay, let's see how it helps. And it helps with boring tasks. I don't have to do the repetitive stuff anymore. And then the third step is success, right? I cannot code without Cursor. It's awesome. It's working great. And this kind of brings me to like the whole experience that I think maybe this sort of lays in the middle of the whole vibe coding controversy, where there are people either like, yeah, it's kind of cool, right? And then you have people on the other side that just hate the term, hate the approach, hate everything about it. And I think that people that hate everything about it feel like people are trying to like hack their way around knowledge and hack their way around thinking and about actually understanding stuff. And I think like that's what rubs those people wrong. And I think they kind of rightly are annoyed because of this. I I um, I had this experience when I was trying to build. I was trying to build like a bunch of different things, but repeatedly I have this experience that I want to build something. I don't know a lot about it. So then I tried to like one shot through Cursor or whatever to build it. And of course I hit the wall. Same as the guy on the left in the image. And so then I was like, all right, I have this documentation here. I have all of these resources. I can Google stuff. I can find if there's a working example of what I want to build. And as soon as I dig into that stuff a little bit, I find that like mythical black swan, the piece of information that was missing. And that is now completely changing my approach to the problem, completely changing what I ask AI to do. And that little piece of knowledge just gave me a better way to approach stuff.
Yeah.
And I think like this is something that many people like that are jumping on this vibe coding thing wave are going to experience, right? Is like at some point you just hit the wall, and you need to gather some knowledge in order to get to the goal.
Yep.
um I don't
Yep.
know what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think while you were explaining this, Kelly Hong on LinkedIn, shared her opinion humbly. She added the H to make sure that we knew it was a humble opinion. And she's speaking to this thing, right? So like AI coding still has a long way to go. There you go. Great. I didn't know you could do that in StreamYard. Wow.
I just saw like there's a show button, so I clicked it. Now you cannot see us, but that's not important.
Yeah. Yeah. But this, I think this is spot on. It's like, this is the promise of AI. Is it's supposed to make us faster, better. But to some degree, just like we just very easily, quickly demonstrated, you can start hitting potholes, right? You can start running into these roadblocks. And unless you as a developer leverage it in a specific way, it's not going to save you any time. And if you're coming at it from a place where you don't have a lot of experience or knowledge about web development, when you get blocked, boy, oh boy, is it going to be a long day in the office for you.
Yeah. I really liked what I kept hearing Primeagen talk about AI, and like the punchline with AI is like, oh, it's going to steal every developer's job, right? But he's saying the opposite. He's saying like it's the best time in history to learn how to code. And specifically because of this, because like you can get pretty far, but at some point you need to understand what's going on. And if you do, and if you actually have on top of that you have the AI experience, that's amazing. I'm probably not citing him right now, but I like how he sort of sends that message to the world. No, actually coding is not dead. Coding is very much alive, and it's maybe more important than ever. And another thing that I want to touch on is the whole pressure of AI. And I said it myself just a second ago, right? Having that AI knowledge. And I think like every CEO of every AI company and whoever, right, uh, talks about the fact that you need to hop on the train, like don't miss the train. You need to know everything, etc. And that just creates so much anxiety. Like even it's bad enough already, with these tools generating code at the speed of light. And now there's an additional anxiety, like, oh, you need to learn about this. You'll if you don't hop on the train now, you're going to be out of your job forever in a year, in 6 months.
Yeah, I think it's a double-edged sword also, right? So 100%, what's different about the AI hype cycle versus any other hype cycle?
I think we could argue there are some things.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know. It's really hard to say, because what we're
what,
trying to do here is to predict the future.
exactly. But what I'm saying is, remember when crypto finally had its moment, and the metaverse had its moment, and Web3 had its moment, and what are those little things with the sad monkeys? What are they called? The bored apes? You know what I mean?
NFTs, yeah.
NFTs had their moment. Like, all of these things have their moment for about a year and a half, right? Maybe 2 years max. And it does establish something very cool and exciting, right? And AI's been around for a while. It's now had a pretty long moment. It's been about a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Following the same sort of hype cycle, right? We're near the end of that moment. We have seen a massive growth in how powerful these models are. But now where we're seeing innovation is how people are training models and how people are leveraging models. That's why agents blew up, right? Like, I don't need ChatGPT 4 for everything. I can do something with a super small model in a container, and it can say yes or no to a question, and then based on that question, some logic can execute. Like, that's powerful. That's really cool. But to some degree, because we're at in my opinion, at least, we're near the end of the hype cycle moment, and now it's about, okay, what do we actually get value from, right? Is it going to be tools like Bolt? Is it going to be tools like Cursor? Is it going to be tools like, V0, et cetera? I think what you've established here, and maybe what our experience in the wild is, hey, for really big, complex things, you can't one shot ChatGPT to give you the answer, right? If you do these small bits and pieces because you're a subject matter expert yourself, it's going to perform much more positively. So that take of, oh, I'm using this like a calculator versus I'm using this like this is going to replace developers. It's not. It's just not, right? The people selling that sort of idea are CEOs. And I always find it very interesting, and I don't have a problem with CEOs. Hannes Checkley is one of the best CEOs I've ever encountered. He's a really great dude, and there are quite a few really good ones. But it's like a CEO at the end of the day will sell you their vision because their vision sells you products, right?
Yeah.
So I think we're good. I see Juan has some thoughts here, and I think he joined last time too.
Yeah. So let's see that. So while AI won't replace us as we fear, I also feel that like these tools make it so that more is expected of us as testers and developers. We have more access tools to knowledge, and eventually they will expect us to be more productive. And those who cannot take advantage of AI tools will be left behind. I think there's something to that. One interesting kind of depressing thing that I heard recently is that I think Mark Zuckerberg said that that like they have laid off, Meta has laid off like 20,000 people, or how many, like a lot. Usually when there's a layoff, when a company has a huge layoff, what that means is that the company is not doing very well.
Yeah.
But the thing that happened is that Meta has their profits higher than ever. They increased their profits while laying off people, which is kind of wild, is kind of scary. Because, yeah, I think we can agree that tools like Bolt or maybe Cursor would be a better example of this. But even Bolt, like or other tools, can really like make us really effective, really productive. We can do things faster. We can produce more lines of code, right? And all we have to do is just vibe and review, and 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 yeah, it like I feel like every innovation that creates this like, oh, and now we can sit back and relax, actually creates this even more pressure to perform even more, right? Yeah, the internet, aviation, everything, like world has gone faster with every innovation, and it seems like, yeah, we're just going to be I guess we're going back to the therapy gig, right? Maybe that's going to make us a lot of money in the future. We'll do the full circle, you know.
No, I mean, there is a lot of interesting stuff happening. I think, I'm unsurprised by, by Kelly and Juan and what they shared here. I think both these takes are very spot on. Just so happens I agree with them. So of course I'm biased here, but I think that there are some other interesting things happening, right? We're talking about the developer experience and what we're responsible for, but the interesting thing is, I'm still sharing my screen. Great. The interesting thing,
I need to highlight it if you
great.
want to show it.
Yeah. I'm about to flip to something else, but let's keep it on here for a moment. The interesting thing is that every time we encounter these stumbling blocks with AI can't do this thing, like in this case where we're asking for some pretty simple a product page, etc. Every time it can't do this thing, that AI developer experience and the feedback that the team working on these tools has to think about or address, it just continues to grow, right? Because if what these folks are selling is the idea that, like, hey, you don't need 4 years in a computer science degree, or you don't need multiple years of being a developer or tester, et cetera, to build these things, then how these tools work becomes extremely important. And I think it's also important to call out, things like this, right? Like, all of a sudden we're looking at Supabase just embedded in this tool. When we initially were creating a project, right? Why was it? Let's see if I can go back to that same page. Of course, now it's going to have me in completely different space. Yeah, this is not great, right? 1 second. Yeah, when we were in that initial project view, or I could choose between Next.js or React or Nuxt or Next, etc. And also Jordan Powell DM'd us and said hello. Jordan Powell, what that's doing is, why is it choosing those tools, right? Why is it choosing to show those things to us as options? Why is Supabase so prominently featured here? And it's because, in order to deliver the most value, they have to use patterns that are going to be the most accessible for the AI to leverage. And also, right, if you have an API that's super easy to leverage, et cetera, like you do with Supabase, you're going to start seeing an emphasis on AI developer experience, right? Yeah. And to put that in perspective, I think you and I, Philip, had talked about this beforehand. This is the CEO of Supabase saying, web traffic has surpassed MongoDB, right? MongoDB being a NoSQL database, Supabase being a managed database solution that was a replacement for Firebase.
Supabase is awesome. I have experience. Like, I'm using Supabase, and it like handles authentication as well super easily. So no surprises there. But the fact that they hopped on this AI trend really well, that's amazing.
Yep. Yeah. So the interesting thing here, though, is that, like, as these new solutions that are built for purpose and that are extremely accessible and are relying on things like MCP servers, and Philip, I want you to explain what that is for people on the call here in a moment. It's like, what does that mean for overall solution adoption? What does that mean for developer experience, right? Like, if I start working with you and, you've built an app and you're using Supabase, but I've never used it before, but you only started using it because AI suggested it to you, right? There's this whole new paradigm shift around tool and solution findability, discoverability, not just for AI, but for us. What are your thoughts there, Philip?
What you mentioned reminded me of a video that I've seen recently by Steve Sewell from Builder.io, and he started with this bombastic statement like, AI companies are lying to you because they're saying AGI is coming. It's like right behind the corner, and. But one thing that stuck with me, what was really, really interesting, is that AI models like are not going to improve that much. Like, we're pretty much hitting the peak with those. But what's going to improve is like how we use them. And he used this great metaphor with gaming industry, where you would have we have very similar graphic power that we had a couple of years ago, but games look much better because developers learned how to optimize stuff and how to use the hardware and everything to the advantage so that the game looks really, really good. And he said that this is going to be happening with AI. And tools like MCP and stuff like that is going to be a big part of that. Now, I know you need to run,
Oh,
so I
yeah,
think
yeah.
we need to wrap up.
One, one,
But what
one
we
more.
started discussing here, I think.
Yeah,
Oh,
I know. Now I'm fully engaged, and I regret making these lunch plans. Can you share my screen one more time? Because
oh, yeah, sure.
I do want to call out one solution I found to be interesting.
Oh,
So this, I always say cat all the time, so this will be funny. This dude, Jonah Katz, is the CEO of this company called Lair, and I actually have met him in New York. He's a really good dude. The company is actually quite interesting, and their whole solution is around making your APIs easy for AI agents to use, right?
oh,
So
nice.
if you're building something with Bolt, V0, Cursor, Void, you name it, right? Their whole thing is creating essentially MCPs that these agents can leverage more easily to work with what you're building. And it's wild, like just to think about this, because like 2 years ago, this would not be an option. And I just think this is the sort of thing that we want to highlight here. Yeah.
Yeah, like this is where we're heading pretty much. The AI enabled ecosystem. The same way we have APIs, we now have like compatible with AI asterisk.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like AI developer experience or agentic developer experience, and then developer experience. But yeah, it's pretty wild. Kelly, I think yeah, maybe next time when we do another one of these live streams, we can just talk about agents for a while and really break down what they are and how they work. This is a great call out. Yeah, I'm trying to catch up with Jose's last.
Yeah, Jose is mentioning testers and that they might actually be more important. And
Yeah.
I kind of agree, and I'm rooting for testing and quality assurance in this era.
I
I'm
agree.
hoping, like, testers have struggled for years now to like communicate the relevancy of their job and
Yep.
have been unsuccessful or successful to various levels of various degrees. And it's I don't think it's going to get any easier for testers, but I do agree that yeah, they're pretty much the testing as a skill, testing as a discipline is not going anywhere. It just may transform as well, and I don't know like what the transformation will be, but whatever AI produces, we will need to make sure that it works. And who's we? I don't know, but someone is going to have to do that. So maybe it's going to back to testers, and
Well,
after all the layoffs, they are going to take them all back. I don't know.
I think that's a perfect point to leave on, right? Like the future of testing. When you look at any of these tools, I've seen all of 0 of them automatically create tests for anything they built.
Oh yeah.
Right. So that to me it's pretty bleak as far as the quality that these things are pushing out. But yeah, I do think that testers will be a superpower for making sure these things being built by AI aren't complete.
Speaking of, we have another live stream slash webinar next week with Checkly, where we will be talking about Playwright in production. It will be maybe a little less AI-ish, but I would say I think we drove the point home right now. Very important to make sure that your production works, and we'll talk about different use cases for Playwright, kind of outside of testing. So we'll talk about how Playwright can be used for various things, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So anyone watching this, make sure you join next Wednesday. I want to say Thursday, next Thursday. Looking forward to that. And I guess we need to wrap up now because we need to run. But this was fun. We'll do that very soon and next week on Playwright.
Awesome.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Bye, gang.
All right. And